Welcome back to Retirement Coffee Talk with Sharice Rivers at Zinnia Wealth. Online, it's zinniawealth.com. Check out our website today, ZINNIA wealth.com. All right, you probably know the name Alton Brown. If you watch the Food Network at all, he's on there regularly, and he has a new book out. It's called Food for Thought, and he says that he hates the word chef. And here's why he explained this on CBS.
Chef is a word that we have simply used in food media to explain why anyone has a white jacket. And certainly in food media, we need it. And so half of these people aren't chefs. Half of these people don't know the sharp end of a knife. We're going to call them chef because then it makes the audience think, oh, well, then they've cast the finest culinarians in the land.
Okay. All right. I love that. That may not even know the sharp end of a knife. Okay. So, Sharice, there are a lot of different people to choose from when it comes to helping with your retirement. In the same way, you know, the chef's got the white coat on. Is he really a chef? The person says he helps you retire. Does he really help you retire, or she help you retire? So there's a lot of different initials out there. When people try to find that person to help them through this journey, how do they know if they've got the right person?
That's a good point. I'll say if you have Chef Boyardee, you probably got the right person. God, I haven't heard that name in a while.
Long time.
Yep. And you know, I'm from the 80s when you hear that, right?
Exactly.
Telling the tale of my age right now. Okay. So what I'm hearing, Randy, is that there's a lot of chefs out there, and there's the guy that cuts the food, they call themselves a chef. There's the guy that boils the water, they call themselves the chef. And then you have the guy that helps prep the chef, and then you have the chef. So they're all getting paid differently, right? And so they wear different hats, but they're all calling themselves a chef. So I can understand where he's going here, because that was a good tee up, because that is the same thing in the financial services world. There's so many different types of planners and advisors and insurance gurus. And so let's talk about that, because number one, we got the stock jock. They're going to put you in the stock market. You know, let me just name them all. Number one, we got the stock jock. Number two, we got the insurance agent. Number three, we got the bond guy. Number four, we got the banker. Number five, we got the fiduciary, AKA sometimes CFP, don't know diddly. And number six, we have the fiduciary that does retirement planning, right?
Right.
So, and I tell you this because you're like, there's that many types, Sharice. Which one should I go with, right? And trust me, it took me years to figure all this out. And I didn't even know when I first got into this industry nearly 20 years ago that there were this many directions and options and roads you can go down as a planner. So let's break down the first one, the stock jock. So the stock jock is, hey, Mr. Stock Jock, they're going to tell you, the client, oh, we're going to buy some Amazon. We're going to buy some awesome dividend stocks, and we're going to park all the money here. And you're going to say, okay, now it's time for me to take income. Can I take 5%? Sure, take 5%. So there's no planning. And the stock jock does have a place in this world, right? And I really, truly believe the stock jock has a place in this world. Younger people, let's buy the stock. You don't even need the income, so I can't mess that up for you. But I can definitely put you some good stocks, right? So there's a place, but is that the place as you're prepping for retirement? I would say no. Then we have number two, polar opposite. We have the insurance guy. So when you're young, yeah, the insurance guy is good. You need some term life to cover in case you die. It covers your spouse, and it covers a mortgage and a house. Yeah, you got a 20, 30-year term. So the insurance guy is good for the younger people. But is the insurance guy good for the older people as we're aging into retirement or in retirement? And I would say, I'm going to explain. There's a yes and a no to that answer, but there's just an insurance guy in this world. Then we have the bond guy, and the bond guy, you know, they like to throw rocks at the stock jock, and the stock jock's throwing rocks at the bond guy because the bond guy says, you don't need that much risk. And the stock jock's like, that's way too conservative. So, right, this is really confusing. And then you got the banker. That happens to be the stock jock, the insurance guy, and the bond guy, right? So follow me here. And then you have the glorious fiduciary, right? And so the fiduciary, there's so many fiduciaries out there. Actually, I think 1 out of every 10 advisors is a fiduciary, so it's not as many as you think. But the fiduciary is also a CFP. I love the CFP. Do you know how many people I've met with the CFP that don't know diddly?
Oh, really?
They are that stock jock and the bond guy. And, but they're super smart and they got the license, but they still don't get it. They still don't get the whole entire picture. And I love some of the CFPs out there. But when I sit down with a CFP and we compare portfolios, why am I doing it so much differently? Like, why do I have all these other things that are so important to the portfolio? Why am I doing the tax plan? Why am I doing the estate plan? And a lot of them are not. It's a different way of planning, right? So then there's the fiduciary that does retirement planning, right? So that's different. That's us. As a fiduciary doing retirement planning, I am the stock jock. I am the insurance guy. I am the bond guy. I am the banker. I am the fiduciary, right? We are all, but not all fiduciaries are created equally because there's not too many offices you can go into town to get what you get here. It's not to toot my horn. It's to educate you, right? And you can have any one of these guys or gals. That's the great thing. Yeah, there's so many people out there you can interview, and you go with the one that floats your boat, that gives you that gut instinct, like this is the one. And if you don't have that feeling, then you are with the wrong person, number one. So my thoughts to you are, back to the chef story. Everybody wears a different hat. You get to choose what restaurant you go into and what chefs you like the best. Same thing with financial planning. In financial planning, there's different fee structures and risk structures, right? That go with all these different types of advisors out there. Know before you go. I always say interview 3 advisors. If you're looking for a new advisor, by golly, interview 3 advisors. Don't be lazy. Don't go into that office and say, oh, you're the one. No, make sure they're the one. Go check out 2 other people. And you check out the other people who are like, oh gosh, that really was the one. Then you're going to feel great. This is making prudent decisions on your finances, right? And doing the work. Because if you're getting ready to retire for the next 30 years, you don't want to be hopping from advisor to financial planner to fiduciary to banker to insurance guy. Do your homework so that you can get into retirement and enjoy those go-go years and be with a family and not have to worry about what the stock market's doing. You should not have to worry about what the stock market is doing because you know your income plan and it's solid as a rock.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Coffee Talk podcast. If you have questions or would like to begin the process of building a tailored retirement plan, call Zinnia Wealth at 833-368-3680 or find us online at zinniawealth.com.
Investment advisory services offered through Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, a registered investment advisor. The firm only conducts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded from registration requirements. Registration is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Insurance products are offered through Zinnia Wealth Management, LLC, Florida license L078655, and Charisse Rivers, Florida license P037744. Zinnia Wealth Advisory, LLC, and Zinnia Wealth Management, LLC are affiliated entities. The information presented is believed to be current. It should not be viewed as personalized investment advice. All expressions of opinion reflect the judgment of the presenter on the date of the podcast and are subject to change. The information presented is not an offer to buy or sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy or sell any of the securities discussed. You should consult with a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies discussed. Any legal or tax information provided in this podcast is general in nature. Always consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation. Any client experience discussed on this show are unique to that client. Annuity and life insurance guarantees are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. If you withdraw money from or surrender your contract within a certain time after investing, the insurance company may assess a surrender charge. Withdrawals may be subject to tax penalties and income taxes. Persons selling annuities or other insurance products receive compensation for these transactions. These commissions are separate and distinct from fees charged for advisory services. Insurance products also contain additional fees and expenses. Social Security rules and regulations are subject to change at any time. Always consult with your local Social Security office before acting upon any information provided herein. References to specific investments should not be construed as being past specific recommendations. The returns for various indices discussed in this podcast do not represent the performance of the firm or any of its advisory clients. Returns do not reflect the impact that advisory fees will have on an investment. Past performance may not be indicative of future results. All investment strategies have potential for profit or loss. Different types of investments involve higher and lower levels of risk. There is no guarantee that a specific investment strategy will be suitable or profitable for an investor's portfolio. Historical performance returns for investment indexes and or categories usually do not deduct transaction and or custodial charges costs or advisory fees, which would decrease historical performance results. There are no guarantees that a portfolio will match or outperform a specific benchmark. Investments in fixed income products are subject to liquidity risk, market risk, index rate risk, credit risk, inflation risk, purchasing power risk, and taxation risk. Because bond prices fluctuate continually, their yields change constantly.